So that's the assumption I'm going to roll into this draft.
We'll find out as we go.
Rumble?
Yeah. I might do a little bit of homework here.
Sure.
But yeah, probably Rumble first pick. Of course, Gwen off the board. Likely seeing an best response.
We're getting told by production that it's 2507. Damn.
Wow. Well, hold on. Let me pull up those patch notes. As I was we had some fresh casting for NACL this past week, but we were on the other
2506. Yeah, we were still on 2506. Yes. Man, that's crazy that because
I'm not surprised those two champs are off the board still. They are.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, like unless like the teams did extensive scrimming and were able to deduce that, hey, these champions are no longer that strong. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, I mean, yeah, they're talked about in the patch notes, but they're still, you know, monsters. So, but as we saw, Rumble locked in for FPX on blue side, since both the Gwen and the Fury were off the table, as multiple power picks like the Jace also hit the ban list from FPX's side. You called out for the Mbessa, but IG are going to go for a little bit of a old combo. Vi Talia, cease and desist into the full rotation from the Rock Weaver, or the Rock Thrower.
Yeah. I gotta say that this is a really big pick for Rookie and IG. I really like how Rookie plays this. I feel like he's just able to control so much of the game pace, and this does give you a way to attack that Rumble inside lanes later on. Also, is something nice for the Vi to play off of. And I will say that for TheShy, we haven't really seen a lot of Renekton in the Rumble, but if anyone's going to pull it out, it could be him, and that's something that does pair well with Talia too. So curious to see what he ends up grabbing. Don't play with our hearts like that, as it's not going to be Kiana. Likely to be an Ahri or something to.
Now, I would be down for Zed. I would be down for Zed. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case because Zed has been popping up a lot more often in mid lane, not just LPL. We saw one instance of it in NACL, and I'm assuming that we're probably going to see more Zed around the world in certain scenarios, since champions like Talia, you can actually heavily punish, since you don't have any real movement abilities. It's all blinks with the shadows. But yeah, IG,
like even Ahri too, like similar idea, right? Assassin into Talia, those rocks, they do slow down Ahri, but she can still kind of just eat them, and the stun comes to the back half of her R, so it's okay. But of course, not going to be. I was hoping for the Croc from TheShy as always. He's a great Croc player, but he's going to be that and Bessa. So pretty common matchups and handshakes that we have so far. With now bot lane being the priority, or being what's left to grab. As Gala, curious to see what he tries to make space for. Varus still on the board. Very strong pick on this patch. Has been pretty much the high prio AD. Getting rid of Kalista tells me maybe they want to open up a Varus pick potentially.
Yeah. Trade would be, if you see Varus on one side, we typically see the Ashe as a response, both strong in utility. Varus going to have a little bit more poke power, though, especially if they go for the Comet Lethality build. A Misfortune ban. That is... Not what I was expecting.
Still give an answer into potential Varus. As I will say, the choice here in terms of what FPX wants to take away. If you do take away Varus like they did so here, opportunity for Gala to play Ashe. Also, you can blind your support and maintain that AD pick for Gala. Worth noting that Kai'Sa's still on the board. This is a huge pick for Gala. Would be able to follow up really nicely on the Vi and Mbessa. So some choices here in terms of what Gala wants to do. Honestly, I can see this, but this is one of the few worlds where I could honestly see just, throw down Leona. And then you could wait on your AD and kind of see what they want. But yeah, opportunity to punish now.
Xayah. No recon tag team. Just going to make sure that Jwei has access to something that guarantees a point-and-click engage onto one of the carries here. Especially the things like the Mbessa and the Kai'Sa can be super slippery, right? So that death charge will at least guarantee they will be knocked up for a brief period of time. And now IG have a chance to round out their composition. They have... Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would be a nice pairing with the Kai'Sa. Also gives you some non-committal engage. You can always fish with the Solar Flare so that you don't have to depend on sending in the public execution or the cease and desist from Jiejie.
I mean, someone's got to catch the knots in, and Leona feels really nice doing that. 5 seconds stun on the Q gets a lot of mileage against these two melee champs, and you can always use your R to at least trade for Xayah R. It's a big trade up in terms of cooldown. So going to be the game plan for Meiko and IG. Like how they can attack the backline. You have Vi, Leona, Ambessa, Kai'Sa, Taliyah. Even that Xayah will not be safe in the backline. The R can only help you out of so many tools. If IG does a nice job of separating those tools, Xayah should be under pressure. For me, really important that FPX actually gets lane leads. Opportunity to do so with the Rumble, with the Ahri, and the Xayah. So, for me, a lot of what the good things we saw to FPX and why they ended up in Group Ascend, it was those game plans with Shadow, and then Sheer really being that standout performer. They have winning lanes, and that Xin can go find Vi, so want to see how aggressive Shadow is early, and if FPX can build any sort of early lead against IG.
Yeah, especially if you can get care out of lane early on, even though we know that Taliyah very prominent on roams and being able to collapse quickly either pre-level 6 thanks to her rock surfing passive or just with the Weaver's Wall. If you are able to get a jump start and use the power of this Ahri to help Shadow just completely blow open the game, that's a way to have yourself a thick wallet lead before having to match up against some of the innate scaling power that the Kai'Sa will bring later on, and especially considering how strong Gala was in multiple games throughout the placement stage for IG. I definitely, if you are on the side of FPX, you definitely don't want to be lasting long enough in the game where the Gala on this Kai'Sa gets online fully.
Again, consensus split 2 placement MVP. And we saw some clips of his Kai'Sa performance. And guys, it's Gala Kai'Sa. If I have to explain what that means to you, well, you haven't been a fan of League of Legends long enough. This guy is an unbelievable Kai'Sa player in a league filled with unbelievable Kai'Sa players. So excited to see what he can do on the Rift.
Here we are, game 1 between FPX and IG. First game and first series of the Rumble stage of the second split here in the LPL. It feels so good to be back, man. I'm glad we get to open it up with, you know, maybe not the most competitive series, but definitely going to be a fun one to watch.
I mean, if it's anything like the 1v1, Raafaa, I think we're in for a treat.
That is true. You know, maybe FPX just might surprise us, or IG might surprise us in the way that IG fans don't want to be surprised going into the series.
Yeah, potentially. Do want to highlight, looks like a phase rush for Rookie. So really going to try and utilize that to maybe escape an equalizer. Xin has those too. Curious to see that one. Is that not always the option on Taliyah? Oftentimes because of Taliyah's move speed, you see combat sums, or a combat keystone. Not this time around. So for me, the one unique thing that I'm seeing on the board so far. And then, of course, Sheer opting for the Conquer on Rumble. You have options, but potential that we see maybe more of a drain tank build, just given the Conquer, is that synergizes pretty well with stuff like Riftmaker.
Sure. Will help combine well with the innate max percentage HP damage you get on the Flame Spitter ever since Rumble got that rework many patches ago. The draining from Riftmaker with the Omni Vamp built in as we take a look at how these laning, the early laning phases is playing out so far. Early push actually being kind of dominated by Gala Meiko at the moment. Took a little bit of damage from Jwei on that first dredge line, but now Meiko, even on a ward, has full bush control.
Yeah, the Nautilus did not want to approach the wave against Leona. Of course, risked that trading with Q. Leona, once she gets 3, it's going to feel pretty good to at least try and maybe look for some trades in this lane. But at the moment, it is worth noting junglers on mirrored clears. We have Xin going bot to top, with Vi going top to bot. That could lead to a little bit of passive play as junglers clearing away from each other, or could be an opportunity for one jungler to at least guarantee numbers advantage on one side of the map. So I'm expecting full clears early on. We'll see what happens early here in the Rift.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if any of the junglers are going to go for proactive dives. Since,
don't think so.
Yeah, it's just so hard now with the turret aggro ramping up super fast, not just in speed, but also in damage compared to before. We've seen many hilarious tragedies happen in the placement stage with proactive dives here, as Meiko does find a nice snag on the Awesome, forced to pop the cleanse. They're trading it back. Gala has to use his barrier as well, as Jwei was able to set up for a decent CC chain to at least allow Awesome to get some damage back. But now that both of the bot laners have been chunked, Jiejie wants to arrive to the party, and being able to find out that Shadow is on the opposite side of the map, they're going to get the shove in. We'll see how well FPX can survive the dive against
It's a Q
3.
flash on the Xayah. Watch it from Jwei. As good interrupt.
Oh, good interrupt by Jwei. Stops Leona right in her tracks. Awesome picks up first blood, and they're even able to trade it back onto 2. 1 kill apiece for Jwei and Awesome, and now Shadow has arrived on into the bot lane, and Gala has nowhere else to go. No choice but to just die eventually, and the flash committed by Shadow gets the kill.
Okay. Feet secured here for Shadow. I was a little bit surprised to see the flash, but as Gala was stuck, big win though for FPX, as really that was off of Jwei. He found Meiko, got him to eat tower shots before the wave hit. They were trying to freeze up the wave. Meiko went early, got stuck. Now Assume was trying to get this wave in. Sidesteps the Zenith Blade from Meiko. We'll see if he can get this one all the way in. Shadow's going to come help support him. As if this would have been frozen, a lot of that lead would have went to the wayside. But Assume going to be able to push this all the way. Does miss the cannon. That's okay, though. They're happy to just get this wave in. And it will be a big advantage to FPX on this bot side.
Thankfully for the IG bot lane, they're able to catch not all the wave, but a decent size of the wave. But we take a look back at the replay. And as you called out, it's all Jwei.
Yeah, again, that wave, they killed the melee creep. So Meiko was taking shots even before he threw out that Zenith Blade to try and hit Assume. So great interrupt by Jwei that's playing the Leona matchup well. Catching those Zenith Blades with the Dredge line, making sure that Leona doesn't find your marksman. Finds the Nautilus, right? So well played.
That's both Summoner Spell gone for Awesome in the bot lane. Jwei on his Hex Flash. We'll see if IG will try to opt for a chance while this flash window is gone from Awesome to try and punish. You already see that Meiko is looping around. Just as I say that, boom, Jiejie is back at it again, trying to make sure that Gala is the one accelerated, not the Xayah. The flash from Meiko to guarantee the Shield of Daybreak, and FPX know that there's no way out for this Xayah. Gala gets the shutdown.
Yeah, a little bit of bonus goal behind that one, as the first blood bounty was sitting on the shoulders of Xayah there. So plus 400 over to Gala. Will be traded out, though, for the Grubs. So a good play by IG, punishing a sum with Xayah, but 3 Grubs going to go over to FPX. Will be traded out for the Dragon, but FPX, not all bad for them.
Definitely not the worst line that could have been played out. FPX still decent gold lead over IG. Nothing to really run away with the game with, as, yeah, a few hundred. Not going to be something that you can just steamroll the game. Now, FPX, as you called it out, 3 Grubs to the name, have a chance to try and rotate Awesome and Jwei over to that next rotation of Grubs early. They should have both Summoner spells available back up again in 3.5 minutes time. The question comes down to, does IG want to continue this train of just sending Jiejie to the bot lane? Now that Rookie also is level 6 and has Weaver's Wall, there's still a small window where Awesome doesn't have Flash and is not level 6 and could be susceptible to a 4-man.
Yeah, that said, it was just a reset from Jiejie, so will be 6 coming in for Awesome on this wave as he's about to ding it there. So still an opportunity. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go there, because Gala actually has a lead in this lane now, at least experience-wise. It's really going to be on Xayah to trade with her W cooldown intelligently, because you can lean on the BF sword, and actually that's enough where they're going to use the prio that they just received in that ball and actually have a proactive swap going up top, so trying to get out of this one and get Awesome a lane that is really pushing towards them. So Sheer going to start channeling the base, is spotted, does not know it yet, and TheShy about to get the bad news that he's no longer going up against the top laner. He's going up against one of those range fellas he likes to abuse in the top lane. As Xayah is making their way up top.
Yeah. TheShy being gracious and letting Sheer back, but probably also just didn't want to deal with an interruption himself, knowing what is probably happening if Sheer is going for a base. Just wants to beeline it back towards the bottom side of the map. We're still 2 minutes away from Grubs, but because now we're going to have both bot lanes on the top side of the map, it seems like everyone will be able to join, even if you have teleports coming in from the side of the top laners. As actually, it's going to be close. I'm not sure if the teleport cooldowns will be up by then.
I still really like this move, though, from FPX. Again, this wave, it was being frozen up top, so Xayah gets a little bit. Yes, it's matched by IG, but if you just stay in the bot lane and keep it as it is, Gala was already ahead of the curve in terms of experience, and that's really big because those levels, it can mean getting to the break points of evolving those abilities faster for Gala, and he's already well on his way to what I'm going to assume is the first item Kraken Slayer coming out of him. So I like the fact that FPX made this shift. Rumble did lose a little bit as that wave was pushing away from him initially, but he'll happily trade that for more resources on the TheShy, and frankly was much needed given the game state. Now speaking of game state, here comes some Vi to Leah, but Ahri able to flash over the wall, and Kara gets out.
Yeah, that's also Spirit Rush used. So Kara's not going to have access to Flash, and probably not Ultimate either for this Grubs fight. So this is going to be a pretty nice window for IG where they will feel distinctive, or a distinct difference of power on their side. Cease and desist still available, can lock down a target, and especially if Kara oversteps his boundaries, could be something that IG want to all in on, as Jiejie just hovering the top side, making sure that there is no dive happening, and Gala and Meiko can preserve a majority of this wave for themselves.
Yeah, Jiejie was spotted on a ward. Shadow also hovering. His reset's going to come in before the Grub fight. Of course, FPX has the first 3. Gotta imagine IG, a lot of pressure on them to reset. Only other thing that we got to hit on before this is a Yuntal is completed here for Awesome. I will say, Ahri looks to be going for that new Roa build. This is still being popularized. It's really big on the ladder. If you are not familiar about it at home, it's Roa, which got even more buffs on this patch. You get a little bit more mana back when you lose health, but the idea of this, the Leandri's, the Riftmaker, is that you get a little bit too tanky to deal with, and you can really freely position in the fights to just line up those charms and try and have long fights where you hit more charms and they're just a nuisance for the enemies. So we'll see if Kara is able to really execute this. Is at the moment hovering mid to guarantee they have mid push. Awesome and Jwei will funnel down into the river, and we'll see if these second Grubs to get pulled by either team. Because at the moment, FPX has nice positioning through mid, but top has push in favor of Talia as Rookie. Gonna have to rotate. Meiko flashed.
Yeah, vision control is so good for FPX. It puts Meiko in a bad spot. Obviously, he has to be the one that face checks, but loses his flash as a result.
Yeah, I mean, the wave top being lost, Rookie got that all the way in. That's already a little bit of an L for FPX. Of course, playing for positioning on this as Jwei sneaks his way out.
Smite 1 used by FPX. IG trying to see if they can at least get into the pit and smite away one of the last ones so that FPX don't get all 6. Care is just going to proactively use Spirit Rush, turns on the isolated Rookie, gets the flash out, and honestly, really nicely played from FPX, and the Death Charge snags on a flashless Meiko, and ensuring that Gala can't do anything to save his support. FPX, all 6 Grubs, and a kill to boot.
I think some of the strength they're really shining through for FPX is IG. They didn't really want to take the fight. Love how Care aggressively ulted towards Rookie, did net the flash, and prevented him from setting up a Weaver's Wall to try and collapse on the side. And with Rookie kind of being on the side, looking for that angle, marking the Ahri, and trying to look for the Weaver's Wall. I feel like front to backs with him, again, those rocks can be such a nuisance for the enemy team. Him being separated there, I think, made things a lot easier for FPX as they were able to secure all 6 Grubs. And now we'll see what they can get out of it. I think their side laning isn't great for the Rumble. It's decent for the Ahri if they're able to actually get towards any turrets. There's a lot of wave clear on IG's squad, but potential big advantage for FPX here as 6 Grubs. That's a huge win con.
Yeah, even though the gold lead isn't, you know, not even like a huge advantage, just a couple hundred, FPX have set up decent pieces for themselves to play a strong map game. 6 Grubs, as long as you're able to have a solo laner able to, you know, get some damage onto these turrets, you're gonna get more gold injection for yourselves with these stronger macro plays that FPX are capable of at this point in time. We do have to remind everyone, though, that Gala is still farming up, and he has not been, you know, really decelerated. So if FPX are not able to, you know, create that strong map advantage by that time we get to 2.5, 3 item Kai'Sa, then I won't say that the game is over, but it will feel like FPX's window has run out, as really nice buffer by Jwei on the dredge line.
Yeah, well played. Jwei's had a really good start to this game so far. Yeah. Really, I mean, made the big play bot. Has had a nice setup around the Grubs there, even getting a Weaver's Wall out. That's a really big cooldown for Rookie. There's still a rank 1 Weaver's Wall too, so significant that goes down for really nothing. Don't love that one from IG. I feel like that cooldown, you're just using it as a support pick, even if it does hit, so really nice to get out of there. And with 2 being spotted up towards the top side, TheShy going to do his best to stall time down here. Do have Meiko hovering him. Has not been spotted yet. Will be spotted on this pink board.
Oh, Gala looking for the killer instinct on Awesome, but an immediate flash and use of that Featherstorm to get away from the 1v1. But that's a Summoner Spell gone and an Ultimate gone on the Xayah.
Again, really big that IG able to stall. Talked about, you know, one stall with nice play by Jwei to get escape the Weaver's Wall, but now IG, they're still able to play out 3 lanes at the moment, whereas FPX only playing out the 2, so Rookie getting some free time top. That's big for the turret, and IG hasn't given anything else away so far.
No way.
Gala,
one more auto attack. Oh, he's under the tower. He can't get in range. He's not fast enough.
So what happened to the player cam, man? Oh, it was so close. He thought he had it on the Kaisa. Not quite.
Dread's right under the tower.
TheShy
Equalizer pairs right on top of it. Meiko gets burned to a crisp, but here comes the power of TheShy on the Invest, able to trade one back. Jiejie throws both of his fists, but forced to flash away. Shadow, wind becomes lightning. Flash lands it right onto Jiejie, and FPX are suddenly finding themselves 7-3 against IG.
Still, while all that was going on, the outer turret dropped in the top side, and Rookie very farmed, so still even on the scoreboard. I don't feel like IG gave away too much, even with Gala maybe having a little bit of a for-fun death in the mid lane. Depending on how you look at that one, it was close with one auto away and looking pretty silly in the end. But, I mean, IG, a lot more on the scoreboard in terms of kills from over to FPX, but the gold, that's still close. And, again, this Talia getting bid could really hurt FPX later on.
Take a look back at the replay in the mid lane. He knows that he has the flash advantage and thinks that he just might have enough auto attacks, but
he canceled one. Yeah. He did cancel one in there, and then it was the oopsie. Gala, yeah, it's like, oh no. I mean, Gala did the same thing in his player cam. And then, okay, we didn't exactly see the start with the charm. I know the public execution went wayward by TheShy. Actually, some pretty good stalls coming out.
Oh, back to live. Weaver's Wall. Valuable. They're still trying to punish a flashless Awesome, and no Featherstorm available in time. Great use of that window. IG able to punish before it just dinked available for Awesome. And now TheShy finds himself in a 1v1 against Care. Gets a flash out over to the blast cone and escapes the grasp of the Imbesso.
All right, a couple big wins there for IG. Taking the Xayah off the board is nice. This is going to be some free time, but also they switched up the side lane matchups, and TheShy immediately able to pick up a flash against Care, who was down ult in that skirmish. That's pretty nice. I mean, Ahri flash could be more valuable, but still, I like the fact that IG found themselves a better side lane matchup across the map and got a quick win out of it early on.
Rest of FPX trying to contest this Rift Herald, but IG are starting to swarm around the river.
They got to be careful. It is a 2-item Xayah. Still Sunless, though. So if they're able to get that ult out, maybe it's a point where they can dive. TP. Okay, they want it.
Everyone's about to all-in. Jiejie looks for the smite, but it's secured by Shadow. Jwei locks up Jiejie. Death charge right on top of it as well. They burn him down, but TheShy is trying to cook in the backline, but he's not doing enough. He's forced away. Awesome with the Featherstorm. Gets the flash out. Meanwhile, on the left side, Rookie's in trouble. Forced to flash away. Good on Unraveled Earth. Stops carrying his track seismic shot, but the flick is not enough because Sheer puts him on a barbecue skewer spit and roasts him alive. Shadow finds one more into Meiko, and Cubby. FPX are up on the board, almost 1,000 gold advantage against IG. I mean, it's a competitive, but FPX are looking good doing it.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure why IG took that fight. Again, I'm looking at marksman items. Like, you have Flicker Blades available for Awesome. Gala, I know that he was ahead, but still looking for that second item. Instead, they force in, and this stack early on, Sheer got so much value. Once he lands, overheats, flashes over the wall, and just starts melting as TheShy can't stick in the fight while Sheer's overheating. Meiko goes down. Gala's never able to go in because, again, IG talked about how they want to fight with the Unraveled Earth kind of front to back. You can see the value that Rookie gets out of it. But again, he's separated from the team, so he can't use that Unraveled Earth, and his spells actually create space for Gala or an opportunity to even get in there. No opportunity for Gala to go in. No opportunity for IG to win the fight. And FPX find a big win and start to build up a little bit of a lead. I will say, during that replay, third dragon was picked up for IG, so they do find themselves on soul point.
I almost feel like I can't get excited for FPX just yet. Because even though they have been some strong team fight results, they haven't really blown open the map quite yet, as FPX already forcing the hand. Weaver's Wall gets denied.
Rejected.
Yeah, well, Unfortunately, Rookie is completely isolated under this dying tower, and FPX picked themselves up another kill, and now
they have 5.
Finally unlocking the first tier 1 turret for themselves of the game. Rift Herald crashing into the second tier turret, and just as I was saying before, I think I'm ready to be excited about FPX this game. A solid 3,000 gold advantage. One more crash. They might just get the entire inhibitor tower as TheShy is over on the top side trying to trade. Same thing with Gala in the mid lane.
Mid outer will fall. Top inner not going to go down, though. Again, no grubs available for IG, so that free time with the turret's not going to hurt nearly as much as it did as FPX. They find an inner, trade it out for a mid outer, find the inhibitor turret as well, even got the bot outer as well, so that lane just melted at the hands of the 6 Grub FPX, and now they actually have a gold lead that means something. 3k gold. That lead is going to be important. Again, FPX, if this game goes really, really long, that's where we start to favor IG and Gala's 3-item Kaisa again, so they need to make sure that they prevent this soul from coming through and have a good Otacon fight with the lead they have now, because again, time not exactly their friend in this game.
Yeah, and it's so crucial that FPX, out of all the lanes that they unlocked 3 towers in a row, was through bot lane, because now they have such a wide axis of being able to push aggressive vision through that bottom side of the map to help set up for the next dragon, which is coming up in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Otacon yet to spawn. No, I take that back. I lied. Otacon has spawned on the bottom side of the map. These are the 2 big objectives that FPX want to deny away from IG. Continue maintaining that gold advantage and try and finish the game as fast as possible.
And all eyes have to be on this next dragon. Again, Otacon, really scary objective when it spawns onto the map, so don't think any teams are going to rip that before this dragon spawns. If you're FPX, you got to put really everything that you have in the tank to make sure you get a good dragon setup. Good news for them, they took all the turrets in the bot side. That does enable IG to drop bot a few extra waves to try and make plays, because they can always catch it. Those minions won't be dying to any turrets anytime soon, but...
Oh, Jwei! Flash prediction on the dredge line!
He still gets out!
And Gala is able to escape, but it costs both of his summoner spells as well as the killer instinct, but TheShy will die for Gala's sins! You can't even blame him. That was a nasty hook from the FPX support.
Dude, what did Jwei eat for breakfast, man? He's been a beast in this game. He's my MVP if this ends up being an FPX win. That was a crazy guess on the Gala.
Cubby, is this the same FPX that we saw in placement stage? No, not at all.
I mean, it is
this team?
It is when they tried to get out of Group Nirvana. Again, it's Shadow with the plans, but to see Jwei playing like this, I teased that we wouldn't see Otacon taken, but they found an early kill. Of course, the Rose's damage dealt in the game factors into what Otacon spawns. Roses end up spawning. It's a lot of experience picked up for FPX. They're going to drop the mid-inner turret, but I think they're going to be happy taking the Otacon and finding a clean reset before the Dragons. We're going to get a second look. Man, this is like the greatest play that didn't hit. Is I got to say, I think he was just fishing for Meiko, who didn't have flash. Gala flashes into it, so he ends up with a true gift. Yes, Gala gets out, but both summons being down, as you highlighted, Raafaa, going to be really important for the upcoming soul fight that FPX needs to deny. Of course, TheShy fell to the second dredge line as Jwei continues to have a fantastic performance in this game 1.
Yeah, and after looking at it a second time, I'm not going to lie, I think that lollipop kind of physic from the dredge line benefited him from hitting Gala before or after the flash, but still, that was insane.
You know what we have to go back to, Raafaa?
What's that?
Maybe this whole game just spawns from the fact that TheShy didn't know that 100 CS wasn't a win count anymore in the 1v1. Or maybe TheShy knew this was going to be the draft plan and was like, I don't want to play Rumble, man. Screw that. I want to best a game. Come on.
Yeah, so the plan for IG is to, tactfully, gracefully lose game 1, and then then they go for the rest of the series. As this is a best of 3, it's fearless, so there's always a chance. And obviously we're operating under the pretense that FPX are gonna be able to close the game out from this point. It's still only a 2,000, barely 1,000 gold advantage here and there, but the Dragon Soul has been denied from FPX, and they have a chance. One more strong fight. It is an open inhibitor on the bot side of the map. They could have the window to close out the game.
Yeah, Meiko right now, that plant is going to kind of give away where he's at. So he was trying to find an angle here and spotted out by the ward too.
Oh, no!
Yeah, that's a good vision play by Meiko. Good understanding. You can see that blue circle and the vision it gives you. You have more vision than blue trinket. So smart play there by the long-standing, one of the GOAT supports of the LPL, him and Ming. Good to see Meiko always in decent form. Getting outperformed in this game one, though, by Jwei, who, for me, again, has been the real highlight player of FPX.
Yeah.
And we'll see if the push can continue. Jwei has an angle onto mid, and Awesome looking to go, but Meiko...
Shy trying to link up with Meiko. Here comes Jiejie over the wall. Cease and desist. They can't stop it. Awesome gets popped. Gala joins the fight with the killer instinct. Here comes Care off the back of the TP. Trying to spirit rush in. But Rookie, the hero, comes in with the Weaver's Wall. Joins the fight. Sheer tries to equalize it. But the ulti. But can he even find Gala? The burn passive is not enough.
No.
And just like that, we thought that FPX could have had the potential to make an upset happen. But IG dashed those hopes and take a 5-for-1.
Gala picks up the shutdown. That's a Gnasher's Tooth in inventory, and Awesome went down with alt flash available. If we get a replay, gonna check to see if those sums were up. I checked it right after he died. They were. As, yeah, look at this. Cleanse, flash, alt available. Not gonna be enough, though, as Meiko is able to shut him down. Awesome has to alt that solar flare. It does not. Gets fully chained from there. And the mistake from the marksman of FPX cost them dearly, as IG were able to run the fight afterwards. They got Rookie in the front to back where the rocks were actually able to peel up. And FPX, that wasn't the fight setup that they wanted. Had to play that one from behind. Not the scenario that they wanted to be in, as Gala barely gets out and makes FPX feel the pain. As that's 700 gold going over to him off the shutdown.
And just like that, the sound of many FPX fans' hearts breaking in a matter of seconds.
I mean, this is more of what they expected. You can't really break if you're an FPX fan, like in terms of heart.
But it was the false hope. It was the false hope that was leveraged upon them.
3 years. It's been like that since Doinby. Oh, sad times.
You know, you bring up a good point. But I guess as someone that, you know, is casting LPL for their first season,
they're just happy to be in Group Ascent, Raafaa.
I'm now experiencing the cycle that probably what FPX fans are used to seeing for over the years.
Yeah,
but
FPX and WE, they're in Group Ascent. They're like, oh, we're just like what we used to be, right, guys? We're one of the top teams. Like, we're in LPLs days past. It's got to be it.
But damn, how scary is IG for them to, you know, drop so many fights, yet still be competitive, while FPX are slightly getting the winning edge over them, and then it just takes one fight to completely reverse that momentum.
Yeah, I like how you said drop so many fights, where, like, if IG actually dropped this game, I think my beef with them would be that they didn't drop fights, and they took them instead, and FPX kind of styled on them early. But again, this comp is one that will get outscaled by the Kai'Sa. Gala has a Seekers in the inventory now. Rookie, who was a little bit behind in this game, is also caught up after that last fight. Also has a Seekers in the inventory, so some of that playmaking potential going to be nullified from FPX. That depth charge can't do the same damage, doesn't have as many targets as it did earlier in the game for Jwei, who, again, has been a beast in this one. And you got to imagine it's going to be another big engage from him to try and set up the Ahri, set up the Rumble, if they want to find a win in this game. Because, again, that gold lead has not only evaporated, the 3K gold lead is now on IG's shoulders, and we really like their scaling as this game goes on between the Kai'Sa and we haven't even mentioned the Ambessa yet, as Sterix has been completed, and you know TheShy is going to be a problem in the upcoming fight.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that, too. Oh, well, that's tough.
Gala Kai'Sa, 3-item Kai'Sa, you know, very important in League of Legends. 3-item Kai'Sa has been dominant for, like, years. And then it's Gala's Kai'Sa that has also been dominant for years. And
which is why we've been focusing on this so much. But yeah,
we haven't
you're right.
talked about TheShy's Ambessa, yeah, which is going to be a problem now.
Yeah. Well, FPX, it was a good run, you know. And I appreciated that we got a glimmer of some awesome mid-game fighting.
They still have a chance. It's just hard.
See. We'll see. It is
another
very
soul
difficult.
Fight, though.
I'm being very conclusive just based on gold advantages, but IG are already starting to lurk in the shadows. And over the blast cone,
awesome.
Here comes the Avengers. Look at how they collapse upon them. TheShy's in the back. Gala is firing into their shoulder blades. And Wei with the turn on the Gala.
Equalizer.
He spots the stasis, but regroup around their mid laner Care, and maybe they have a chance to reset off of the Spirit Rush. I spoke too soon. Jiejie's in trouble. The rest of FPX will not go down without a fight. And the rest of this squad are going to try to tango and deny Dragon Soul once again as Rookie gets caught up by the 3 Talon Strike, pops the stasis. Jiejie forced to league, and another flash prediction. Jwei does not miss with the Nautilus Qs. FPX still in it.
What a beast from Jwei, but I gotta say the fight, that was determined by Sheer's equalizer, the red carpet. He put it on his own team as it melted away IG. They had all the angles in the world for the Xayah, but at the end, everyone else ended up on top of the red carpet, and Rumble made him feel the pain.
Cubby, I'm going to stop predicting who's going to win from this point in the game. It's been contradictory every single time.
Only so much you can do. As awesome, talked about spacing out the abilities to attack Xayah. They did that beautifully, but look at the equalizer that comes down from Sheer. Everyone's on the red carpet, including Gala, who absolutely melted to it. That allowed for FPX to reset the fight, reset their lines, and they took over in the back half. Again, Rookie did his best to stall out, but once those rocks come out, Shadow was able to play around it. Rookie, a mistake, stepping up, eats that wind, becomes lightning. No defense that time around to protect him. And Jwei, we're going to miss the bonus one. Another fight.
Equalizer throw down again. FPX trying to cook Meiko and Gala, but he's getting the front line treatment this time. He's able to stand behind Meiko, and he stands and delivers on the Kaisa. Triple kill for Gala. Care on the run. The Void Seeker flashed by Care, but he has lost 4 of his teammates, and IG are ready to push it in for the base win.
Again, FPX, they didn't find the setup. I know we just hopped into that fight, but we didn't see that big equalizer from Sheer. What got them the win in the last one? Didn't see it in that one. Again, Awesome had
they're not gonna
no
take
sums available, and he has ult up in the gray screen. I wonder if it was even available for the fight, given how fast IG took it afterwards. Definitely something big to do in the Xayah. You can fight with that R cooldown on cooldown, as it's a long one. And yeah, looking at the replay, look at that cooldown from the Xayah. It happened off screen, but Awesome was taken down yet again as Shadow. That was bold.
Okay. I guess that's how it happened. Damn.
So Shadow goes in deep, and then Awesome just gets eaten alive, having no sums in the back half. Again, no ult available for the Xayah, and sitting duck for all the tools that IG can throw at the Xayah, which are pretty much everyone on the team can do something against that champ. So
I will say,
nice execute.
A little surprised that IG didn't feel bold enough to just close it out. I guess the minion wave was not large enough, and their health bars were not in the greatest of shapes, but it was just Care. He had no Spirit Rush, no Flash. I thought that IG would have felt confident enough to just look for it, and the death timers were long enough, but they just go for the guaranteed play, secure the Baron for themselves. They'll give them the guaranteed push power on multiple side lanes, so I'm not mad at it.
I think if Gala had more health, it's a maybe for them to go for the end. But Gala was a little bit low, so just get in the free reset, take the Baron, and then take down these inners that are still standing. Bot inner, last one still standing is IG, going to make sure that one falls easily. Care going to take care of at least one more wave in the top side. There is 6 grubs for FPX, so actually real chance Ahri can stay for more, but Reaver's Wall is going to guarantee this turret falls, and Care going to hit recall. Going to at least be after inhibitor falls, but we'll see if they play defense for mid.
He definitely thought about it, but I think the Baron power is proving a little too overwhelming for FPX to deal with. Dredgeline right onto TheShy, and okay, well,
TheShy
that's a freebie. Well, hang on, the action continues. Oh, Jiejie almost soloing out Shadow. Not sure how that exactly happened, but they turn right onto Rookie. They know that the front line is only up to Meiko. Throws out a solar flare, lands it on the 2 members, but a good charm by Care. Finds Rookie. Sheer flashing right on top of Gala. Finds his moment once again. Killer instinct on Awesome. Cannot escape even with the Feather Storm. And the stasis just sets up Sheer to die. Gala is doing it all. Gala is slithing through it all. And he pops the stasis one last time, but cannot survive. Care will finish him off.
I mean, it started with TheShy going down. The rest of the team kind of fought around it. FPX able to somewhat take an even fight, slight win for them. Down gold still. I don't think this changes the game at all, but at least they were able to take the Baron off and defend that mid inhibitor.
Dude, this is a freaking banger. What the heck, man?
It's a classic IG series, man. We're going to fight to fight. And those we'll end up winning in the end because we're better. And we're going to take a fight where it looks like we can't lose. But then we're also going to do things like this, where TheShy is going to go for a chunk that doesn't matter, and then Duck is another big one from Jwei. ends up connecting. And Shadow on the back half, down 2 levels. Jiejie able to get a nice chunk into him, but really important that Shadow was actually able to live. I'm not sure if that all... I don't know if Jiejie actually casted Smite there. Smite's on cooldown. I think he ulted to protect the Smite coming in.
Might have been able to
kill him.
Yeah.
Decent idea there from Shadow, and it was important that he lived because he actually ended up being impactful in the back half. As Gala, again, talked about 3-item Kaisa a lot. Gala's on 5 items now, and yeah, things don't get any easier as Kaisa gets more items. She just continues to get stronger and stronger, and Gala's been doing some serious work this game against FPX.
Yeah. The only reason FPX are able to defend there is because they were doing a 5 versus 4. As Shadow's in there.
He's ripping
2,500 HP. Equalizer doing a lot of damage, but Jiejie secures the Infernal Soul for IG. Care on the retreat. Gala undeterred. Oh, they get flashed on. The death charge is coming in. Gala CC to all hell. Meiko's forced to flash away. TheShy, it's only on to him. He goes back in. He's got Jiejie in his back pocket. Look at TheShy. He's slicing, but it's not enough. FPX survived through it all, but I don't think they have the minion wave. Can they look for the end here?
They were thinking about it. The minions are on their bot Nexus turret. They're going to at least push for a bit. They do have 6 grubs. An absolute cluster of a fight ends up FPX's way as Rookie mounted at the start after the dragon, but Soul was secured for IG.
They're going to look for it.
They got to look for as much as they can. There's no way they can end.
18 seconds on Rookie. They're protecting the minion wave. They have 6 grubs on their side. If there's an opportunity... It has to be now. They're going to look for it. Shadow taking up the turret aggro. First Nexus tower falls. He survives. They're dodging the turret aggro and balancing it beautifully well. Rookie, can he get in range? Flashing forward. The seismic shove kills 1. That's another one. But Care has the auto attack, and it's gone. FPX will take the first game off of IG.
Oh man, 6 grubs ended up being that important in the end as FPX. We might be in for a banger tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as IG end up losing that game. I gotta say, going into that dragon, I thought IG, they had that one won. A back and forth game from start to finish, and FPX pull off a big upset to kick off Split 2 proper.
It started with the 1v1, Matt. That's where the surprises started rolling in for FunPlus Phoenix, and it did not stop. Jwei on the Nautilus, doing everything he can to protect his bot laner and create so many opportunities for them in the mid game. And even though IG were able to bounce back and come online in the late game, we thought it was over. I thought it was over, but FPX tenacious and determined to see it through the end. And they
I actually can't believe they ended the game from that state with 6 grubs. I mean, they had 3 people up, no marksman. I thought for sure that IG would be able to defend. Not the case. 6 grubs ended up really being the difference maker and then ending up winning. If they had 5, I don't think they end from that state. So what a killing game to kick off our night, Raafaa, as a big surprise for me with FPX able to take the win. And hey, again, this was a team we didn't even think would be in Group Ascend. We had them in Group Nirvana at the start of Split 2 placements. They played their way out into Group Ascend from the 3 seeds and making a splash to kick things off here already as they took down IG.
We said it earlier in the game. This is not the same FPX that we saw in the placement stage. They barely scraped by getting into that 3rd seed. And then the qualifiers, they seemingly ramped up, being able to do enough to win the best of 1 against LGD, winning the best of 3 over Ultra Prime. But none of those games compared to how strong they looked against IG. And were there throws from IG? Absolutely yes. But we cannot take away the credit that FPX deserve from this opener.
When there's like a 45 kill game, there's going to be mistakes that happen on both sides. But I mean, FPX, I know that we spent so much time talking about Jwei. I think that he is my MVP of the game still. But I got to give a shout out to Sheer in the back half too. The Rumble was, for me, the difference maker in the fights that FPX were able to win. Again, the dog pile from IG onto FPX, all the angles that they had to attack, awesome. It was Sheer was the one that was standing at the end with everyone kind of stuck in melee range of the Rumble. Those equalizers were big. The overheats were big. I thought Sheer played really well in that game. If he gets MVP, I wouldn't be disappointed, even if I thought Jwei was just an absolute monster throughout on the Nautilus.
But it should be one of those 2 players for sure.
Yeah, if it's not, I'd be a bit bummed. I thought Shadow had a nice one. Care ended up playing well at the end. But yeah, again, that damage chart, I think it's really telling. There was so much focus onto Awesome, but it was Sheer. It was the one that was the benefactor as all those tools burned onto the Xayah. Yes, she fell in the vast majority of the fights, but still, you were burning ults to just get flash, get cleanse, get feathers, right? A lot of tools burned onto the TheShy. Of course, some of those connected, but ending up stuck in the path of the Rumble, and Sheer made them feel that pain.
I mean, you saw the gold graph. That was...
They won down gold.
Yeah, they were down before that fight. They were down 6,000 gold.
Yes.
They won a fight 6,000 freaking gold down. What the heck is that?
I mean, fighting, that was the story of this game, too. Is, again, IG, for me, looking back, there were some fights I shouldn't have taken. This was one of them at the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
Not in the right position. There were multiple fights, too, where, like, Rookie was away from the team. We saw the difference about him being away from the team and then him being with the team, where they were able to use the rocks to help peel the front line off. I think that looking back with IG, those are the couple things that I would look to change. And, again, if you're FPX, I mean, what a big win. What a statement.
Yeah.
Just the fact that, hey, we didn't just make it into Group Ascend. We're here to actually compete in Group Ascend. We'll see if they can turn this map win into a series win as we go through the rest of the games tonight.
I'm just looking forward to seeing all of the Jwei hooks in this montage reel.
We missed a lot of the good ones. A lot of them came early, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, like, the way he played the 2v3 dives, protecting Awesome under the tower, always absorbing Meiko's engage so that he was never in optimal position to follow up with the rest of his CC chain. Oh my god, like, it definitely could have been a lot worse of a game state on that bot side had it not been for the way he played those dives. And then, obviously, some of these fights, there's only so much that he can do. Some poor angles chosen by FPX, but, I mean, a majority of them still, Jwei did pretty much everything and went above what was asked of him.
Yeah, Shadow ended up a bit stuck, and of course, when the fights weren't able to set up. But I mean, this is the beginning of the end for IG, and if you're looking back at this as an IG fan, like, again, we kind of laugh about some of the Shy's moments, but that was one where it's like, that was kind of game-breaking there, my friend. The fact that, like, we just went in for nothing, 1v4, again, a chunk that just did not matter, and it was almost Gala heroics that, again, end the game here, but still, we're being put in a 5v4 position where no tools are burned really to take down the Embessa, just not worth it. And I cannot wait to get a second look at this last dragon fight, because we did not get a second look at this one, Raafaa.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute cluster at the end.
Jiejie secures Infernal Soul, but it doesn't matter,
At Dredgeline of the Charm, that's what got Rookie, and then watch Sheer here in the back half. TheShy was forced out. Gala, again, depth charge from Jwei, and Sheer was just following up on all this. He was able to function with care. Meiko goes, but yeah, I mean, the Sheer, he's the one that's shredding everyone. Man, I gotta say, Jwei for me is still MVP. I feel like those hooks at the end were what got them the win, and that's a happy coach and a happy camper there behind the scenes.
Hell yeah. I mean, coming into this series, IG 6-0 from Group D in their placement stage. We were expecting a complete reversal of kind of the disappointing results we got in Split 1. And the slow ramp up from IG and, you know, bowing out early to top esports in the lower bracket during playoffs. We were like, okay, I know IG is back. But now dropping a game to FunPlus Phoenix, maybe IG is actually back based on what we got from Split 1. But I'm hoping wanting to, you know, see strong representatives from the LPL when we go international. Yeah.
Support, you always got to cheer for the support pogs, you know. Sometimes they're rare, and I'm usually a Nautilus hater. I can't hate on that Nautilus, man. That guy was a beast in that game. Well deserved the Jwei. He was huge. God. Yeah, he was a big difference maker this game for FPX.
That is the Nautilus that every support player learning support should aspire to be one day.
Yeah, if you're gonna play Nautilus, you know what you lack in stats, you make up for in an awesome kit. And Jwei made full use of that with the Dredgeline, the depth charge. Was a beast that game as he helped FPX find a big upset map win. Now we'll see if he can help FPX find a big upset series win as we continue on with this best of 3.
That's right. Well, we're going to take a short break. But before we get into our break and get ready for game number 2, we want to give a huge shout out and remind everyone that we're extremely grateful to our Coffee and YouTube subscribers who help level up the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the podcast, which you may have seen with the sick graphics package revamp we got. So thank you again. And also a huge bulk of it does... does pay on air talent and content creators. So subscribe to our coffee linked in the chat to unlock perks like early access to content, the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews, and even more broadcast upgrades like the ones we just got